All right, our apologies for the slight delay. We were waiting for Shane, but he will be delayed a little bit, unfortunately. But we got Brandon and Scoop here along with me, Robert, to cover the NFC and AFC North. It's not football after hours; it's football at normal hours, I guess, 'cause it's noon.
This isn't even normal hours. This might be the earliest show we've ever done.
Earliest we've ever done a show. That was kind of my point. Is this the earliest show we've ever done?
I think so.
It's gotta be close to it.
I had to think about that.
I imagine this is. I have my Lion coffee right here. There we go. Got coffee going. And so yeah, we're ready to go. We got coffee. We got the NFC and AFC North. Very excited to go through these divisions. First off, Scoop, how was Italy?
Italy was great. Got a couple of friends who may tune in to watch the show today, so I'm excited for that. I had a couple tuning in who watched last night. And I mean, I could talk about it the whole day, but nobody's here to listen to that. But I had a wonderful time, and I'm gonna have another wonderful time tonight, or today rather. So
nice. Brandon, what's your rating out of 10 of Spider-Man Brand New Day?
There are not many movies that that I give anything like above an 8 to. I'm giving that a 9. I'm giving that a 9.
9? That's good. Yeah. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 for my Letterboxd. I do Letterboxd. Which you can go check out. I have to promote that more. But yeah, I did a whole review thing. You can go check that out at Arcelosi on Instagram. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it because it's a great film. I really loved it as well. All right, here's something we might not love as much: the Chicago Bears. Who would like to start?
Like
are we doing a coin toss and a loser has to start?
Man, I mean,
I don't know, man.
I mean, look at that roster. Like, it's it's like I don't even want to attack it because
I know. Does anybody?
I mean, because what's weird about it is like they don't have anything at wide receiver except for Roma Dunze.
You're not a Luther Burden III fan?
I was coming out of college.
Is anyone excited about Luther Burden? Luther Burden.
I was excited coming out of college, and they expect me to take a big step this year, and he could. But I mean, we haven't seen it, and I just don't think he's going to make that big of a jump. That's going to be sizable. I mean, the Bears are just really, really like. They're kind of just, it feels like running back the same roster, more or less. I mean, we know that Ben Johnson's a great coach, so they'll be fine offensively. And I love them drafting my guy Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon, but
great fit.
That's an awesome fit for them, but it's just, I mean, outside, I mean, their running back room, I love it. I mean, that's a really good running back room. And that was a great 1-2 punch last year with Swift and Monangai. But, I mean, and Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet, that's a good tight end room. But that line isn't great. It's okay. Like I said, their wide receivers aren't great. Like if they're gonna continue to take another step and be and try to cement themselves as one of the better teams in the NFC, as one of maybe the top 3 teams in the NFC, they've got to, kind of put this all together. Like Caleb Williams, we saw flashes last year, but to me, it still wasn't great. And a lot of it last year, if we all watched the games, we said it every week. A lot of it was just luck, or felt like luck. So, like this year, they've got to kind of put more of a 4-quarter effort together because they just really didn't the whole year, and then they just waited around to the fourth quarter to actually get hot. They can't do that again this year and expect to win, obviously. So, I mean, I don't hate what they have. I know there are names across this roster. I mean, there's, like I said, you're bringing in Dylan Thieneman, who's one of the best safeties in college football last year, top 2 or 3. Jalen Johnson's still there. TJ Edwards, who we know well. Of course, Devin Bush. I mean, they're not great names, but they're names. They're guys that can do their job, fill their role. Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett. You've got guys like that. It's just, I don't think Caleb Williams can take that jump, that really kind of big step up, because last year was a good step up, but I don't think there's a jump in there where he's going to go completely insane and put himself in top 5 QB next season category, and the Bears are going to roll off of that. It just feels like there's not a lot that they improved on. It feels like in the offseason, and it doesn't feel like it's going to be sizable enough to kind of push them to that upper echelon of teams in the NFC. So, I mean, I like what they've got, and I still think they've got the best head coaching right now in that division, I would say. But at the same time, it's like the roster is not. There's not much that I like there. So,
yeah, Scoop, what say you about this team?
I have a decent amount of overlap, or what's the word? Agreement with all of that. I'm not a fan of, and you guys know I've still got my questions about Caleb. This is a team still that allowed, even though they had well-regarded, or some people regarded them well for their defense last year, they still were bottom 10 in points allowed.
Mm-hmm.
They are looking at we already talked about their wide receivers, their tight end situation. I like, Loveland and Komet kind of flanking one another.
Yeah.
But and again, he hasn't taken a snap yet. And Dylan Thieneman might be my favorite defender on this team already.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that just to get some points in the bank with my co-host over there. But I just, if he does enough this year, not just in the fourth quarter, but he does who he kind of reminds me of? I'm talking about Caleb Williams here. You know who he kind of reminds me of, if I'm talking about a different sport? Jazz Chisholm. Because they have this weird penchant for, we talked about this past, how their clutch numbers were really good in the past season, but everything that's like the entire body of work felt like less than the sum of its parts. And if I can just get the coaching and the personnel around him and his full body of work, if those things need to line up better, and I think that they can play off of one another, but I mean, again, and also I'm going to throw one more out there. Bears fans, I'm sorry, but if y'all somehow dominate the Pro Bowl voting this year, cancel the damn thing.
Oh my God! Is everyone going Caleb for X Factor? I think that's pretty simple based on our conversations here.
I mean, because I don't want to place that expectation on Dylan Thieneman this year yet. So I'm going Caleb. I still don't see I saw, like I said, we saw flashes last year, but I don't see enough there. Like this year, to me, he really has to prove it. So, he's got the Madden cover. He's got the Madden cover. So he really has to he has to do something.
I still can't believe, which, by the way, Madden came out yesterday. Brandon, I want to get your thoughts when you've played enough of it.
I'll get to it.
Yeah, I didn't like it. Scoop likes it, I guess. But yeah, it's a whole mess. I hate it this year. I'm pissed. I'm pissed off. Scoop, are you also taking Caleb for X Factor?
No, I'm going to go off the board a little bit because I feel like Caleb's the easy choice, but I'm looking at a guy who plays arguably the second most the second most important position on the field aside from quarterback. He's a former Tide guy. He's a former top 10 overall pick. He is fairly new to Chicago, but he's had some good experience in the past, but he's also gotten a couple of injuries that have, put questions on him. I think by Rob's expression, he knows what I'm going to say. For my X Factor for them, give me Jedrick Wills.
Interesting.
Okay, I don't mind that. Where is he on this roster? Why can't I find him?
Under offensive tackles.
Oh, tackles. That's what we're looking for. Okay, I don't mind this. I don't mind it at all. Well, they need help on their offensive line, so.
And not for nothing, but their second string guy is out, so he could jump up the depth chart pretty fast here if he really shows out the rest of preseason. So
yeah, for sure. Okay,
I just as a general matter, when it comes to X factors in football, I try to stay away from quarterbacks just because to me that's like it's so disproportionately important that I feel like I could have just said that for every team we discussed today.
True. Bears 9.5. I switched over to Foxes. I don't know how accurate these are. I apologize. They're probably not the most accurate in the bin. I'm going under easily.
I'm gonna go slightly under. Because listen, they won 11 games off pure luck last year, so I'm gonna say slightly under. I'll say they win 9.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could literally see them going 9-8.
All right, that's fair. Let's move on to the Green Bay Packers. Scoop.
All right. Well, again, you guys know that my MVP pick last year that I argued for was Jordan Love. I'll be curious to see what happens now that their offensive coaching staff has been retooled a little bit, I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
But the just the X factor for me for them is just going to be health. Because literally the entire was there a more banged up team outside of California last year than the Green Bay Packers?
Outside of Cali, that's a good thought. Yeah, no, I think you're right there.
Excuse me. They have so many pieces that I like, whether it's on the offensive line or at tight end or running back, or even, we see guys like Hargrave there and Parsons.
Micah's out till mid-season, so
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's just, and that's I go back to the health thing, where there's so many reasons to Xavier McKinney. There's so many guys to like. I mean, even some of the guys they brought in the draft, but the best ability is availability. And we just have not seen that from them, not even just last year, but going back to the year before. And so I need to see these guys actually play 6 or 8 games together in a row before I'm comfortable taking them as seriously as their names say they should be taken. They kind of feel like the NFC version of the Baltimore Ravens.
A little bit.
We're going to get to later, yeah. Brandon, who's your X factor for this group?
There's a lot of guys. Like, this is weird to me. That it's just, we know what they brought in. Zaire Franklin. like I'm looking through this roster right now myself, like, as you scroll through the schedule, and I'm just, there are so many guys that you just almost feel like they're just not going to stay healthy the whole season. Like they're going to play maybe like the first month of the season and get hurt again. I love Tucker Kraft. He would have been the best tight end in the NFL last year had he been healthy. Like he's really good, but the injuries have kind of slowed him down. Even Luke Musgrave got hurt. So, the tight end room is great if they're healthy, but they almost never are. They're like, and just like with the Bears, that wide receiver room still sucks. Like both those teams don't have any wide receivers. Like to me, Christian Watson's extremely overrated. I don't know what people see in him. To me, he's never he's never healthy enough, he's never that explosive to where I can think, there's Shane in the comments.
Oh.
I see the Packers. They still have Josh Jacobs. You still have Jordan. Like I like their quarterback.
Thank you, Shane. That's good. All right.
I like their quarterback running back duo. I think the most in this division, maybe, but I still think that their offensive line I think is a little bit better than the Bears. I think that defensively, what's going to be a real test for them is not only just keeping these guys healthy, but I think that the Bears have a better secondary than the Packers. I don't like the Packers secondary. I said it all year last year. I don't like really the NFC North has all those secondaries are crap. Like they kind of are, but to me, I think that the good thing is what I think Hafley's in Miami right now, right? So
yeah.
It's not just having a new offensive kind of system they're working with here, somewhat. It's having a whole new defensive scheme, basically. So, if they can really kind of just not play Jeff Hafley defense, I think they'll be okay because his defense was god awful, especially the second half of the season last year, and we saw how they blew it against the Bears. And I think that's the thing for me too, is that people are like, oh well, the Bears beat them, in the playoffs. I'm like, yeah, because Jeff Hafley choked, not because they were the worst team. So, to me, I think the Packers are. I don't think they're that much better. Like I kind of agree with Shane what he said in the comments. Like I think that they're a win better than the Bears. So I think that would be enough to win this division. So I don't think this division is going to be like that whole thing of where, there's like three teams that can make the playoffs that could be all like, that could happen again. But, I don't think, yeah, exactly. And Hafley was never good when he was there anyway. So,
that's a good preview for the Dolphins next week.
Yeah. And Suresh is gonna love hearing all about that because he if he came on, he'd roast the hell out of them too.
So would my father.
Yeah,
my father's a Dolphins fan. For those who don't know.
Oh my God! Really?
Wow,
Jeez.
You're all over the place.
Shane said Packers win the division with 11. Bears and Vikings win 10. Lions win 8. The Packers are at 9.5.
Yeah, I'll go one more than that. If I gave the Bears 9, I'll give them 10.
I'll go over for them.
You cut out. Can you please repeat the number?
Yes, 9.5 for the Green Bay Packers.
Another 9.5. On talent, I would say over, but I don't trust them to stay healthy enough, so I'm going to say under.
Fair. Minnesota Vikings. Does the quarterback matter? Brandon, Kyler Murray is the starter. They decided on it way too early. I don't think it matters either way. Do you think it matters for you?
I don't think they chose it too early. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, that's fine. It's just, I just don't think it matters.
I don't know, man. Because I'm like, listen, if Justin Jefferson can can literally get 1,000 yards with broomsticks at quarterback last year,
Broomsticks?
then it's what it is. Then Kyler Murray should in theory be able to get him over that, and it should be okay, at least with his numbers. But I mean, this is the what best, maybe the best wide receiver room in the division, maybe, but probably second best. It's definitely close. I think that obviously them and the Lions, but it's. I mean, I just don't like the fact that it's like it feels like this whole division made no adjustments in the offseason.
There's nothing.
This whole division is the same damn thing from last year. So, like, I mean, how can I love the Vikings when all they did was change their quarterback and then add Jawan Jennings? Because that's all they did.
I mean, their quarterback went from what Shane just said is what I was about to say.
Shane said last time the Vikings had a competent quarterback play, they won 14 games. Kyler isn't amazing by any means, but he's twice as good as anything they had last year.
With a quarterback-centric coach, I might add.
Yeah, which I mean, are we saying he's the quarterback whisperer after doing what he's done with JJ? Where you can be a quarterback whisperer. That doesn't mean you can literally make any quarterback good.
Why in God's name? First of all, how the hell did they win 9 games last year? Oh, well, I know why. Defense early on. That's why.
Defense, yeah.
Jesus.
I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. May have actually even been on the show.
We were talking a little bit about it on the show, a tiny bit yesterday.
But Wentz and Murray might be the most boom or bust quarterback room in the entire NFL.
You should include JJ in there because
I'm not gonna lie, I forget he's still there sometimes.
But that's part of the thing, right, with them, where I feel like this has a real potential. Scoop, you mentioned this about Atlanta, how it feels like it could possibly just be a carousel that they keep turning.
Yes.
Every couple of weeks. That's how I feel I feel that, I should say, let me put it this way. I feel that even more with Minnesota. They could just keep turning it and not finding a solution.
And what's hilarious is that they still have most of the defense that last year looked purple people eater-ish for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also the Brian Flores defense. They're going to look great for the first half of the season and then fall apart in the second half because they always do. So, I mean, I don't know. I like some of the guys they got.
For the record, Shane said JJ's always been a bust. We said that years ago when we saw his combine.
Yeah, he was definitely on that before I was. Unfortunately, when he went to Minnesota, I thought that could actually work, but
I never liked JJ because here's the thing: is that in college, when you have a quarterback like that, you can win with a guy who just hands the ball off, who has the number 1 rushing attack and number 1 defense in the country. You can win with that because in college, it's a way different skill level than the pros. Right. When you get to the pros, you got to be able to throw the damn football at least semi.
That's what they accuse a certain number 1 of doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and and we'll get to that next week because oh boy, can I rip into that?
Yeah, you and me both.
But because this is why I make the counterpoint. You can win like that in college. You can't win like that in the pros. And the thing is, if you do win like that in the pros, it is extremely, extremely rare. So, it's like, that's why everybody was like, "Oh, JJ McCarthy is a national champion." I'm like, all he did was hand the ball off in college to the number 1 rushing offense and let the number 1 defense in the league destroy offenses. So, it's not like he did anything. So, I was never a big JJ guy. I never thought he was great arm talent wise. Never thought he was great athletically. Nothing about him jumped off. Even when he did have to throw the ball, I'm like, why do his throws look like wobbly ducks? I'm like, I don't like the fact that he really can't throw. Like, so it's
Which
like
does was wobbling.
But it's like, so I never saw it with JJ. We know the Carson Wentz story. We saw Max Brosmer last year. That was an adventure and a half.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
I didn't even bother naming that name, but yeah, that name also.
Okay. And then Kyler, bringing in Kyler, I think it just makes the carousel worse.
I mean, here's the thing: they have to keep Kyler away from Call of Duty. If they can do that, then
the Call of Duty beta is in 2 weeks.
Oh, geez. All right, it's over. It's over. Sorry, Minnesota. It's over.
The beta's in 2 weeks. Also, the first campaign missions in the beta, I just saw that before we started. I don't know. Anyway, so your X Factor is put Kyler away from Call of Duty.
Because it has to be. What else would it be? I mean, I would love to say, like, you know what? Because I actually trust Kyler enough. I think about this. I trust him enough to chance it to be at least twice as good as what they had last year. So I actually won't go Kyler, even though that's the obvious choice because he's coming into a whole new system, new coaching staff, what have you. I think if they're gonna go anywhere, listen, he's old, but they need Aaron Jones to stay somewhat healthy. Because if he's not, Kyler cannot throw the ball, like any quarterback. You can't throw the ball basically over 35 times a game and expect to win a lot of games.
I love Jordan Mason as a backup, but putting him as the primary starter for the majority of the year is not going to work.
And the thing is, when Aaron Jones is in there, he's actually been decent. Like, last year, even when he was healthy, which wasn't often, but when he was, he still had over 540 yards rushing, and that wasn't even for much of the season. 4.2 yards a carry. He didn't have a ton of touchdowns, but that was to be expected. But it's like, they need, I would say, out of him, they need at least, I would say, not even like they only have 1,000 yards. But to me, for them to be successful, they need at least 800 yards out of him. They need that. Because if they don't get that, and you're relying on Kyler to throw a lot, which, whenever he kind of did in Arizona, it wasn't the best outcome. It's like Kyler was at his best when he could defer to guys like a James Conner in Arizona. But you don't have that here. And if Aaron Jones isn't healthy, you're not going to have that here. So I think the X factor is honestly less Kyler. It's more Aaron Jones for me.
Scoop, what say you for X factor for Minnesota?
I really am tempted to go with what we said earlier with Brian Flores. But just the whole defense back there is like, I keep going from name to name because the fact that they just struggle so on and off with defense, and it happens at different levels. Like, it's not just like, oh, their defensive line is weak, or oh, their secondary is weak. Like, you can see the struggles come up anywhere on the defensive side of the ball. So, and first off, I want to apologize for this. My connection is very poor.
No, you're good. You're good. We can hear you just fine. You were good.
Cool.
KFC has to pull.
Yeah, he's not wrong. See, that's also what I'm worried about too. Is he going to ask Kyler to throw 50 times a game? Hell no. Shouldn't.
It's what's funny is when I said Flores, I literally almost just said the whole coaching staff because I've got questions about O'Connell too.
You can throw the whole coaching staff out of there, absolutely.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to end up going with. It's a little more on the defensive side of the ball, but it's probably the one team in the NFL where I trust their personnel more than I trust their coaches.
Yeah. Oh,
hey, Kev, Kev, what's up? Hi, Kev. What's up? Hola.
How are you doing, Kev Dudka? How are you doing?
Oh, God.
What?
It's the TCA guys. All right.
Oh, this is another company adjacent guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
up, Kev?
8.5 for your Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, thanks, Kev.
Over.
Because I'm like, man.
This man did not just say Eagles suck and then let's go Raiders.
Yeah, he's a diehard Raiders fan.
He's
got to be
Raiders
happy
guy.
about what he saw in Mendoza last night.
It's the preseason. Oh my God, nobody cares.
I know, but still. Oh man, I don't know if I could go. I don't know if I can go over because I mean, listen, 3 teams in that division won 9 games last year. I don't think that's going to happen again. So, oh man, I mean, their first 2 games are against the division too. So, I don't know. Like, to me, you said what is that? You said 8.5. It was
8.5.
Oh man, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go slightly under, just because I don't trust Kyler Murray. I like Kyler Murray better than what they've had. I don't trust him to throw the ball 40 times a game. So,
all right, Scoop. I'll finish out the Detroit Lions, who also didn't make many changes this year either.
I feel like anything I say, I'm just repeating myself from a year ago.
Pretty much.
This whole division is the same rosters as last year. There's no
same
changes.
dang thing.
Here's what I'll say. I'm gonna go non-players again with regard to the coaching the X factor, because they've now been a year removed from having both Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So they are a little more adept now at, or at least should be, at what to do to succeed that without having them there. That being said, we also sometimes see guys get a little bit more regression the further away that the good coaches get. So Rob, not necessary, by the way. I've still got more.
Okay, good.
But I just don't.
It's early in the morning. We're adjusting with everyone's schedule. But go ahead. Scott.
I just don't have a strong sense of what their ceiling is without those guys. I can tell it's not as high as it was with them. They also had the unfortunate elephant in the room where they let go of one of their better defensive backs this offseason, who now ends up a Seattle Seahawk. But I just don't know. It's
wow, this quarterback and safety room. Sorry to interrupt, Scoop. Is pretty rough.
Yes.
I was just gonna say it's like the Packers, where there's position groups I like, and then everything else is basically just cross your fingers.
Yeah, I think as Scoop said, I think the coaching staff is a fair way to view the X factor here, Brandon, because
because it just feels like, it just feels like when it comes to them, there's a lot of, there obviously is a lot of turnover with their coaching staff. And whenever you have a lot of turnover in your coaching staff, you just don't know what you're going to get. You're either going to get, 12, 13 wins, or you're going to get 7. It's like, you don't really know. We already talk about how good, the first 4 guys on their depth chart are like on this depth chart on ESPN, Goff, Gibbs, Amon-Ra, and J-Mo. Like, we know that. But everybody else they're all, put it this way, this is my favorite O-line in the division. But
does that say more about their O-line or the ones around them?
Yeah, because Penei Sewell, we know, one of the best left tackles in football. I like the addition of Blake Miller, even though he's a rookie. I like, the fact that he's going to get some, a lot of run, this year. And the thing is, if they can turn, Penei Sewell into a guy, well, he was good in college, but if they can continue that in the pros, if Blake Miller becomes like, their, right tackle of the future, then that's great. So I still like it. And I mean, at least they've got something of note on the offensive line in Sewell, whereas the other teams kind of don't. So, I don't like that DB room. I said that all last year.
Can I change my answer for X Factor when Brandon's done?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to.
But I think right now, I mean, hell, I don't even like the fact that they're going to make Gibbs was always their number one, even when Montgomery was there, but it was like a 1-2 punch. I don't like the fact that their second guy is Isaiah Pacheco. I don't like that at all.
My man Isaiah, yeah, he's not that great.
And listen, that he's a Jersey guy. I understand he's a Rutgers guy, but like, once he started getting hurt in Kansas City, that was basically the end of him. He's nowhere near as explosive as he was. Mr. Run angry, run like a toddler kind of thing. That's gone. So I don't know if I like Gibbs being the bell cow, because he's at his best when you keep him fresh. So I don't know. I mean, I would assume he's ready for that workload, being behind, him and not behind, but being with Montgomery the last 2 years. I would assume that he's ready for that, but we'll see. Honestly, I don't like the fact that, we talk about how good Sam Laporta is, but he's not healthy. So honestly, you know what I'm going to do here? Because I'm actually thinking about this more and more. And I listen, I could pick anybody across their team, but what I'm thinking here, I'm actually going to go a little bit, outside of where my comfort zone would be in terms of X factors. I'm going to say Sam Laporta. And you know why? Because Goff, I've said this before.
Shane said Pacheco was never good. It's okay to admit it. I'm a Pacheco apologist, so Goff, we've said this before, is when you look at the games, yeah, he's throwing for 300 yards, but a lot of it is checkdowns. And the thing is, quarterbacks who like those checkdowns, you need a tight end who is healthy. And you need a tight end, like a Laporta when he's in that offense to kind of, it's another weapon to spread around the field. So if he is healthy, this team, I think, can overcome the defensive struggles they'll probably have, I think, at least a little bit. I'm not saying they'll overcome it entirely, but they'll overcome it a little bit. It'll help. And just, when Laporta's in that lineup, it just makes them all better across the board, because you can't ask Goff. When Goff gets into trouble is when he's forced to air it out deep to guys like J-Mo and Amon-Ra, and he doesn't have anybody to rely on basically to check it down. Like, because when you take Laporta out, they're going to cover that check down with Gibbs. So, Laporta, I think, needs to be healthy, because all the other guys, we've seen what they can do when they're on the field. He's the one we've been waiting for. Like, is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be healthy? Is he so? I think Sam Laporta, to me, is my X factor. Yeah, Shane also goes with Sam Laporta. What would you change your answer to, Scoop?
I'm going to go with one of their rookies, their second-round draft pick out of Shane. Is Shane no, Shane's not a Michigan fan. I'm trying to remember who it was that was a Michigan fan. But I'm going to go with Derek Moore, the edge rusher. And all right, because I looked at their draft class, they only had 2 picks in the top 117. So obviously you really need to hit on those. And you also could have, I feel like, gone with Blake Miller, because he's going to be sliding in and switching over Sewell to the opposite side. But because of what they need their defense to be able to do, because of the position he plays, I'm going to go with Derek Moore. He was one of the top-rated. He was probably the top-rated guy that they drafted. He was one of the top-rated edge rushers in college football. He's considered a high IQ player. He's not the longest guy out there, but he's looked at as. Shane, I haven't slept well, and I don't know how long. I apologize.
Hey, jet lag. I understand.
Yeah,
that.
jet lag for sure. But But yeah, I'm gonna go with Derek Moore as my other pick because I think that he showed a lot in college that if he has the capability of bringing even 80% of that, not only physically but between the ears, and that's obviously one of the positions where that's really important as well. I think that goes a long way, especially in a division where you've got some pretty gettable quarterbacks.
Yep. 10.5 for Detroit Lions. I'm comfortable with the over. I'm comfortable with it. I don't love it, but I'm comfortable.
This is going to be another one where I'm going to say under, but where I think they finished like 10-7. I think they keep it. I think these over unders are really good because I think they're going to finish like right on that line.
I'm surprised you guys thought these were good because I looked at them and I was like, are some of these too high?
You know what? Like, I know Shane said he has them finishing last at 8 wins. The thing is, this is just the roster I like the most in this division. So, like, and that's not saying much because
they're the same as last year.
But
remind me, are we also doing division winner predictions during this?
No, we do not.
Well, that's also basically kind of what we're saying if we're doing the over under, and we're
I just kind of haphazardly put out the over unders just because people are interested in it, and we started doing it last year. Yeah, I'm not saying this is how I'm going to pick the divisions because I'll do that at the end. I'll do that at the end of preseason, but as of right now,
I'm not going to lie. Right now, I would have had to say Minnesota.
You said 10. You said 10.5. I'm gonna go slightly under. I'm gonna say 10.
That's fair. Scoop, before you have to go, we'll kind of jump ahead a little bit. What were your thoughts on Top Gun Maverick?
I enjoyed it quite a bit. Glad I got to finally see the second movie there. I had wanted to see Maverick for a while, but everyone kept. My mom kept saying, you got to see the original one first. You got to see the original one first. But then proceeded to refuse to watch the original one with me because she said it would be too sad.
It is a sad movie. That's fair.
So it was forever before I was able to watch the original, which meant it was even more forever before I was able to watch the new one, or newer one. Because if I'm not mistaken, they're coming out with a third one now, right?
Yes. I think it's in pre-production. I have to double check, but I think it's in pre-production, active development, script work underway for the third one. But yeah.
But again, thought it was a great movie, and I mean, you know me, I'm normally somebody who likes the more comedic type of films and one thing or another. But my other side, if I don't go that route, is the more historical kind of very action-oriented films. So and in the sense of where this wasn't really necessarily a historical film, it had connections to history because obviously Top Gun original was rooted, almost 40 years ago. And I think this is the 40th anniversary of it.
That's why we did it. Yeah, that's why we did both films.
Okay. But I just absolutely loved it. And I hope Nicole is watching right now because she's a massive Top Gun junkie, way more than even I am. But it's hard watching it for this because this is one of the few movies we've watched for this that I've actually seen before. Mm-hmm. So it's like I don't have the greatest first reaction to it because I've seen it. But I mean, again, Tom Cruise, Miles Teller, John Hamm, Glenn Powell, just a who's who of, obviously Val Kilmer, may he rest in peace. Just a who's
great way to honor him in this movie, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a who's who of talent as far as the cast is concerned. And how could you not love the ending as far as anyone who's not watching, I won't spoil it, but how could you not love the ending of this film? It's one of my favorites. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I would say it's a modern classic. Honestly,
I would agree.
For the last 10, 15 years. So
yeah, and if we're doing ratings, I mean, I don't do these super like rigidly, but I'd give it a solid 8 to 8.5 out of 10.
That's good. That's good. All right, Scoop. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us as always, and welcome back.
Thanks. Good to see you guys again. And Shane, sorry I missed you today. I'm sure you'll tune in, or I'm sure you'll jump in as soon as I have to leave. But you guys have a great evening, and we'll see you all next week for the same 3 shows, and hopefully the entire cast on each one will all be together this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna have to miss some of What's the Scoop next week because we got AWA playoffs.
What's AWA?
Wiffle
ball.
Yeah, so we got playoffs going. So we'll see though. I'll try to hop in as I can. But
all right, peace, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon as we continue our disagreements about the new game.
All right,
peace.
All right, let's continue with. We're gonna get to all of our thoughts on Top Gun Maverick later. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you, Kenny. Good afternoon to you as well. But let's begin with the AFC North and our guy Adam's favorite team in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Brandon, Aaron Rodgers' final year is kind of the big selling point here. We're not going to see much of him in the preseason, but what are your thoughts on the Steelers?
I believe it or not, I like their running back room a lot. I love Warren and Dowdle together. That's a really good 1-2 punch in my opinion. Their wide receiver room is better than what they've had in the last couple of years. I mean, DK is not great, but DK still commands a presence, and I like Michael Pittman Jr. I always have.
That's their best move. That's one of the best moves of the offseason. People aren't talking about it enough.
Yeah, so I think that's really, really important. Those two are going to give, because Rodgers did need more to throw to than just DK last year. He didn't really have that. So now he's got that. So both those guys should get equal kind of chances to get the ball. They're both not going to be 1,000-yard receivers, but if they can both kind of do, what they pretty much are accustomed to doing, around 800 yards apiece, if they can both get over 800, it should be a decent year for the Steelers. I've always said I love Pat Freiermuth. I know why they use Darnell Washington a lot, but Freiermuth is still the better tight end. Their O-line, it's not the best. I know Adam would have his own thoughts about that, but I still like guys like Zach Frazier. I still think Troy Fautanu is still young, where he's still kind of coming into his own. Defensively, they're actually getting better as they kind of gel together more. I like Joey Porter.
Hello, Shane. Hello.
I'm pissed. I just missed Scoop.
Yeah, literally, you guys just like 2 ships passing.
All right, continue, Brandon.
I did like, the fact that Joey Porter Jr. came along strong at the end of last year. It seems like we're finally seeing, him kind of come into his own. Patrick Queen is kind of weird. He's fallen off quite a bit, but I still don't think he's bad. Like I like that defense a lot. I mean, the Steelers are known for their defense, but Derek Harmon, of course, I know well. Cam Hayward, getting older, but still, commands a presence, especially at nose tackle. So TJ Watt speaks for himself. Alex Highsmith is really good. So I like this defense a lot. I just really hope. I mean, this almost feels like another situation where it's like you got to pick the quarterback as the X factor because it's his final year, and what the hell are you going to get out of 97-year-old Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. So, he didn't have the worst year last year. They even made the playoffs, but I don't know. I love kind of what they've got on that side of the ball defensively, but I don't know how much is really there offensively. I mean, he's got a good enough, I feel like, supporting cast, like better than what he's had in recent years. So I think that does help. So I think we're going to get a decent season out of A-Rod as long as he's healthy. But I mean, man, I think my X factor is Michael Pittman Jr. He was the big addition for them in the offseason. So I mean, this is a guy that even when he was in Indy, I mean, he played through several. Like, this isn't a guy that would just get injured and come off the field for a broken, pinky nail. He had back issues. He had some leg issues. He played through it, and he played well through it for what he could do. So he's tough as nails. I mean, listen, he got 7 touchdowns last year, despite having kind of a limited, role with all the injuries, and still almost had 800 yards. So I think that, adding him to DK takes a little bit of strain off of DK. So I think he's the big get. And if they're going to go anywhere, I mean, they brought him in for a reason. If they're going to go anywhere, more than just barely winning the division by a stroke of luck, they're going to need him to excel. So I think Michael Pittman Jr. is my X factor.
Literally won the division by a field goal. Kenny asked one question: who had the most impressive preseason so far, Drew Aller or Carson Beck? I mean, I was just happy to see both of them play really well.
Yeah. But how many times do we see guys play well like that, like young guys like that play well, and then they do nothing with their careers? So, like...
Yeah, and that's why the preseason is the preseason, right, Shane?
Yeah, but I mean, it is still NFL action.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's second and third string guys, it's still better than the guys you go up against in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, I was really impressed with Carson Beck, and it wasn't just because he's going against their practice squad or whatever, but like he actually looked different. He was patient in the pocket. He was going through his reads. He wasn't scrambled. He was making good decisions. Like, these are things that he did not do at Georgia and Miami.
Yeah.
He gets some pressure. He starts running around the pocket like a chicken with his head cut off. But we didn't really see any of that. So I'm definitely encouraged. And Aller, I mean, yeah, he was good too, but I mean, he is probably going to be, fourth on the depth chart if he even makes it. So, so I'm not really putting a lot of stock in that as of now, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, continue on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Shane.
Pittsburgh is interesting for me because, I look at this roster and it's a lot of guys that are kind of leaving their prime, especially defensively.
Mm-hmm.
TJ Watt, great player, getting older. Hayward, same thing. Jalen Ramsey, right? So, then the thing is, like, yeah, they won 10 last year, but barely.
Yeah.
And it's largely the same roster. The one big addition they do have, though, is Michael Pittman Jr., as Brandon pointed out, and he's also my X factor. Because I mean, we kind of know what they're going to be defensively.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, can he add another element to that offense? And I'm curious to see how they end up aligning those guys. On the depth chart, DK is listed as X and Pittman is Z. I really hope they change that, because Pittman does not have the speed to be a Z whatsoever, and DK is not the refined route runner that an X should be.
He's not a route runner, period. He doesn't. I don't think he knows how to run a route still.
No, yeah, He should be a running back, but whatever. Anyways, but yeah, so I don't know, and then going from Tomlin to McCarthy kind of feels like a lateral move to me. But yeah, so I guess in the end, you have a quarterback who's pretty mid at this point in his career. Obviously was great, but now he's just, I mean, he's not bad, but it's like, yeah, okay, it's Aaron. And you have a, mediocre coach who's been out of the game for a year, an aging defense. I don't know. To me, they just feel like 9-8.
Yeah, 8.5 for your Pittsburgh Steelers.
There you go. Yeah, I'll give them. Yeah, I was gonna say 8 or 9. So, yeah, that's pretty much right on.
Yeah,
Brandon.
I mean, I don't. Man, I mean, listen, they they won last year because Baltimore had a rookie kicker in Tyler Loop that had stage fright. So man, I don't even know. Like for me, I think about this. The Steelers are so weird. They won 10 last year. But like I said, it's literally because of a missed field goal. I'm gonna say just because it's older and it's one, they're a lot older. I know Pittman does help them, and I think he will. I'm gonna say slightly under because if they won 10 last year, you know what? No. I'll go slightly over. I'll say 9 because they won 10 last year. I'll say 9 this year just because older doesn't mean better, but Pittman does kind of keep them in that ballpark. So I'm gonna say 9.
Yeah. All right, Shane, I'll have you continue on with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah. Baltimore is interesting because last year did they win 8
They won
last
8.
year? Yeah.
Would have won 9.
And now they're like, okay, yeah. And now they're like, yeah, people have them, like in top 5 of Super Bowl odds.
Yeah,
Which, yeah, I'm not gonna go there. They did lose their best offensive lineman in Tyler Linbaum. And kind of like hello. Kind of like Pittsburgh. There's a lot of old on this team.
This whole division's gonna have that theme.
Yeah. The difference though is Baltimore, Pittsburgh I feel like is old because and this is not just this year, this has been the theme for the last several years with both of these teams. Pittsburgh is old because they're just still hanging on to the guys that they've had forever. Yeah. And they get attached to them, which I understand. Baltimore is old because they find a veteran player who they see value in. So there's a bit of a difference. And so, with Baltimore, I do like this roster. I think this is a killer defense. And offensively, there's a lot to like. I mean, the offensive line, obviously, not quite as good. But, when you have the fastest quarterback in the league and the strongest bull rushing running back in the league, I don't know if I'm that concerned about it. I mean, it doesn't help, obviously, but I think, the biggest thing for me is just going to be are they going to be able to pass the ball efficiently? Because their receiving group is, let's say, inconsistent.
That's the best way to put it.
To put it nicely. Lots of speed, but not always a lot of hands. So, we'll that we'll have to see on that. So I'm gonna say Zay Flowers for my X factor. But I'll tell you what, Jesse Minter, love that hire. I think he is. I've said before that I feel like Mike McDonald is Sean McVay defense. To me, Jesse Minter is like Matt LaFleur on defense. Just that, like not quite the top guy, but like pretty close. And just kind of that, like that 3-4 under scheme that we see with Mike McDonald that's becoming more and more popular. So this should be a top 5 defense in the league. I mean, last year he was the defensive coordinator for the Chargers, and they were like borderline top 5. And this is a far more talented defense than that was. So, I mean, in theory, they should be a top 5 defense. I think for me, and we know they can run the ball between Lamar and Henry. To me, the question is just, can they throw it consistently if they need to? So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts with them. What's their over-under? I'm curious about that.
Over-under for them is 11.5.
That's steep.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to do there. I'll be real.
I'm saying slightly under.
Yeah,
slightly under.
Yeah, slightly under.
I was thinking like 11.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Brandon, continue on Baltimore.
I think one thing, and I had to actually look this up because I was curious before the show, but I said even when we had the whole coaching carousel that Jesse Minter was my favorite guy of the bunch because of how great he is defensively, how great of a defensive mind he is. And that's like, he had to go to a team that needed defensive help and that has the pieces there. And that's exactly what Baltimore is. So, I said it when they got him. I said, like, Baltimore's got the names. They just needed the damn coach to get them, so that defense doesn't look like a wet paper bag all season long. So with Minter, I mean, everywhere that he's been, I should say, and it really is everywhere, because he is familiar with this Baltimore Ravens team. He's familiar with Lamar Jackson at the very least, so he at least knows him and has seen him. And the thing is, too, obviously being a more defensive head coach, Lamar is going to see his defense in practice, too. So it's only going to be like an iron sharpens iron situation, I feel like. So I think that, he's the perfect hire. He was my favorite hire this offseason. And I think that they finally have a coach that has a ton of experience that, will be there for however many years he wants to be there, as long as they play winning football, which they should. And I mean, like I said, this was a team that missed out of the playoffs because they literally did not have a kicker last year. So, like, they were literally, like you keep saying, a missed field goal away from winning this division, barely, but winning this division and making the playoffs.
By the way, Loop is still there, so
and that's horrific. But that gives me some pause. But then again, what do you want from a rookie kicker who gets thrust into the fire like that right away? But it was still a bad miss regardless. I still like their defense. And you know what? And I think this is important, and I think we're kind of overlooking this a little bit. My X factor for them, I think, is and because it helps within the division, because he knows this division, is Trey Hendrickson. I think that is going to be really important. I think you have him now Now, listen, they are getting older, but that defense is still really good. But they added Calais Campbell to it. They added Trey Hendrickson to it. So I think those two additions are I think the best that any defense has made this offseason. So I think that if Trey Hendrickson is healthy in a Jesse Minter defense, that is a very scary sight. And I think that Calais Campbell, obviously the guy is a future Hall of Famer. He's just the poster child of consistency every year of his career. So, I think he's only going to benefit from this. And of course, because having those two guys anchoring your D line essentially, that's going to open it up for everybody else. Matabuke is going to get a lot of one-on-ones. You're going to have, their secondary is going to get chances to because that D line is going to put so much pressure on the offense. You're going to have the D line getting chances to jump routes and you already got Nate Wiggins back there. Malachi Starks, Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton. Those guys just need to be a little bit more healthy, but they're still great when they are on the field. So when you combine Minter with this roster, I said it even before division periods. I'm like, this team should win this division. There's no reason they shouldn't. And at 11.5, I'll say 11, but because I just don't think they're going to win 12 or 13. That's crazy expectations for a first-year head coach here. So I don't think so, but because we all know what first-year head coaches, it always takes time to gel. So I think that 11 is fine. I think they win this division. I think that's basically my X factor is Hendrickson. So I think that, I can see why Zay Flowers makes sense though, because listen, we all know how I feel about the guy. I don't know how the hell he had 1,200 receiving yards last year because the guy, all he does was fumble balls late in the clutch. So I don't know how the hell that's possible, but that's a good pick. That's a good pull for Shane. But I think for me, it's Hendrickson. So
yeah. All right, let's continue on with the Cincinnati Bengals. Brandon, we actually saw something in the preseason that is important with them, and it's the fact this offensive line is still terrible.
It still sucks. Yeah. Gee, who would have thought? God, man. At some point, when does Joe Burrow just do the Andrew Luck thing and walk away?
When does he ask for a trade at some point? Because Jesus.
Like, oh my God. Because what the hell is that offensive line? Look at that O-line. What the hell is that?
Orlando Brown, Dylan Fairchild, Ted Carradis, Dalton Reisner, and Marion Mims. I apologize if I said Mims' name wrong, but here you go.
Here's the thing, though. This is better than what they've had in recent years, which is crazy.
Is that saying much right now?
No, that's what I mean. That's saying how bad they've been.
Oh man, and then God, it doesn't get any better. Look at the defense. That defense is not good. Listen, I know your guys' boy is there. Boye Mafe.
Yeah, he's not going to play that well in that system. I'll tell you what.
I don't.
I don't expect much either, but.
He was Seattle's fifth best pass rusher last year. I was like, take him. I don't care.
I still like Jordan Battle, and I think DJ Turner's a pretty decent corner, but the rest of that secondary is not special. Their linebackers, there's nothing there in terms of linebackers. Miles Murphy's okay. Dexter Lawrence is their big get, but he's getting older. Dexter Lawrence wasn't even, great last year at all.
Two guys when the man doesn't make that defense magically better.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And on top of that, so, you bring two guys in, but you have to replace, or not to replace, we have to try to at least find someone to come close to Trey Hendrickson's production, and there's no one on that defense that can. So, good Lord. They shouldn't finish last because the Browns are the Browns, but but they could because Joe Burrow might die by week 2. So, like, I don't know. I'm so this roster just irritates me because look at like once again, look at the first 4 they have: Burrow, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Great. What the hell is the rest of it? What is the rest of that? So like that's my.
What do you have for an X factor? Do you have one for this group?
The damn roster. Because, bro, I mean, look at this. I can't even say they're additions. I can't even say Dexter Lawrence or Boye Mafe because it's like, is it going to matter? No. How can he be an X factor if it's not going to matter?
Are you guys ready for their over-under?
What is it?
It's going to be like 10
It's
and a half.
10 and a half. Brandon can't believe it.
No, that under. Smash the under. Smash the under. Because even if Joe Burrow's healthy and lights it up, that defense sucks so bad.
I can't trust it to be healthy if I'm betting it. I can't.
And that's the thing, too, is he can't. But like, look at the amount of injuries that Joe Burrow has accrued through his career. He's honestly been injured more than he's been healthy in his career. So,
yeah.
I mean, I like their D line, and DJ Turner's good, but otherwise, the defense is pretty rough.
It's an okay D line, but it's like it's not going to win you a ton of games. I don't know.
Yeah.
Any X factor for you, Shane? Just the D line.
Oh, do I have to name one?
Do I have to name one?
I mean, mine is Joe Burrow's health because
that's really a big. Here's the thing: if we joke, but if he does stay healthy, they probably do win 9 or 10 games because that's just what happens. Yeah, this. Oh God. I'm gonna. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's fine. We can leave it
See,
there.
it's funny because everyone's freaking out about boy Muffet is such a great addition. I'm like, yeah, you know who was their edge last year? Trey Hendrickson. Like, why are we acting like this is an upgrade?
Oh my God.
It's not.
Well, from bad to much, much worse, the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson is listed as their starter currently on ESPN. I imagine that will change. Shane, does it matter who starts?
Yeah, give it to week 6. I don't know. I mean, look, they had a 2-time Coach of the Year winner last year. And decided, we're going to get rid of this guy. I'm not sure. I've seen the pressers with Todd Monken. Seems a little strange. It just seems like a weird fit. And then you get rid of your best defensive player, and I mean, Verse is good, obviously. The secondary is fine, I guess. Otherwise, yikes. I mean, this is just a whole lot of cross your fingers.
Do you guys want to guess the over-under?
I don't know. 3.5.
Brandon?
I mean, just given all the coaching changes and how bad their roster sucks, I'm going to say 4.5.
5.5.
Ooh.
I still think it's a little too much.
Yeah, that's
under.
Yeah, under.
Under.
I'm giving them 3 on a good day.
That team is 5 if and only if Deshaun Watson somehow has the game of his career in one of those weeks. Like that's
Or Shador, let's be honest.
Yeah, or Shador, really. I mean, once again, like I feel so. I mean, I'm glad that I don't have to see Jared Verse anymore. That Philly doesn't have to see him. You know, when we're battling the Rams, you know, every year at this point. But I also feel bad they banished him to hell. So there's that.
Yeah, you get to see Myles Garrett instead.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And Aaron Donald, because the helmet is talking to him like the Green Goblin mask. So, you know,
Aloha, Patrick. Aloha.
I mean, so, and the worst part is Aaron Donald stayed. I know we're talking about this Browns, but Aaron Donald.
It's probably better that we talk about that whole situation than Cleveland. Let's be honest.
Yeah, Aaron Donald stayed retired, and he finished his career with not having a sack against the Eagles, the only team in the NFL didn't have a sack against. And now it's like, well, here he comes, and I guarantee he's gonna get a sack against us at some point when he plays us this year. So, great. But yeah, the Browns. I mean, I like Verse too. I like Swess. You know, Denzel Ward. I like. But that's it. I mean, there's only 3 guys on the defense I like, and then their offense is just a bunch of crap. I mean, it's a washed, not even a wash. Was he ever good? It was Jerry Jeudy and a bunch of rookies.
Jerry Jeudy was good for a month in December. What, 2 years ago?
Yeah, that's about it. So, I mean, well, I will say that their best player offensively, and that's kind of sad, is Harold Fanning Jr. like
who I like, but
yeah. So, like, I mean, yeah, that's an easy under, but I don't even know if there's an X factor. What the hell is
do we have to pick one? The X factor is whoever's at quarterback, and even that is nothing.
Yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, I'm sorry for any Cleveland Browns fans listening, but how can you listen? I know you guys aren't happy. We're not happy talking about your team, so it's like.
Scoop would be on a rager if he was here. I'll just say that.
Oh, Scoop would rip it apart for a whole 45 minutes. I know he would. So,
oh my God. Anything else? No, that's it.
I hated these divisions. I hated.
You hate these divisions, and we're going to yours next week. Okay, Top Gun Maverick, Shane.
Robert.
Yes. Finally something good.
You know, it's funny. I was never, I'll admit, I've come around now, but in the past I was never like a huge fan of the first Top Gun movie. You know, upon my most recent rewatch last week for the show, I think it was my 4th time seeing it, and that was the first time where I was like, oh, that's actually pretty good. The first few times I was just kind of like, okay, I don't know. So when I heard that this movie was getting a sequel, you know, like a legacy sequel, I was like, well, like, do we really need that? Like, you know. Then I saw the trailers for it, and I was like, oh, that does look pretty good. And then I watched the movie, and I was like, oh, damn it. Because it was just that good. You know, not only does it have the same, you know, kind of fun, cool vibe of the first one, but it's also, you know, emotionally goes to such deeper places. And I just think the character dynamics just go together so much more seamlessly in this one. I really like the crew, and you know, I love that it wasn't just, you know, 1986 Maverick back at it. It's like he has lived 35 years. You know, he is still Maverick, but like he is a different guy. Like he's matured, he's experienced things. And it's very subtle in the way they do it. And I think this is one of Tom Cruise's best performances for that reason, because so much of it is just goes unspoken with how he acts. Bob, oh dude, Bob is great.
Lewis Pullman.
What's your call sign, Bob?
And then he turns out to be Bob in Thunderbolts as well.
Oh yeah. I think one of my favorite jokes is when he goes, "Oh, I know what Bob means, baby on board." That always gets a chuckle out of me. Anyways, yeah, and you know, I guess I like that this movie, you know, like I said, it still has that fun vibe, but it doesn't have so much of like the 80s cheese. You know, it actually kind of, you know, it takes itself a little more seriously without like totally straying away from what people liked about the original. That's a very fine line to walk, but I think they did it wonderfully. And you know, obviously the cinematography and just the spectacle achievement was crazy. With how they were able to capture all this stuff. But you know, despite all the crazy flight sequences and the life or death situations and all the drama and whatever else, my favorite scene, you know, the one that always sticks with me in my head is the one with Ice.
Yeah, it's
and
an amazing scene.
And I think especially more so now that Val has passed, it just sticks with me a little more. What's our version of Riz? Yeah, fair enough. I guess
Patrick says that's funny.
I guess I should say by today's standards. But yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I just remember watching that movie for the first time, and I wasn't expecting to actually like see him in the film. I thought it would just, because you know, I knew that, you know, what he was going through as far as his health. So I figured it was just going to be kind of this texting thing that they have, which I was like, yeah, you know, I mean, that's sweet to, you know, include that. I'm 54, you know, Patrick says. I didn't know that, but now I do. And yeah, and then I remember when we actually see him, and then that scene that happens, I just, you know, not only is it a great scene, but it's also just, I couldn't help but sit there and think, like, man, this is probably the last time we're going to see this. Yeah. You know, last time we're going to see these two, last time we're going to see Val.
I am Batman.
Screen.
I am Batman.
Listen, I know we're talking about Top Gun, but his Batman to me is underrated. It's actually good to me.
I do think he was a good Bruce. His Batman, yeah, he's fine. I think he was not helped by a terrible script.
Yep.
So I don't hold it against him too much.
What's your rating for this movie, Shane?
I mean, I don't know, probably because it was my favorite of 2022.
Yeah, when it came out.
So probably, I mean, I'd give it an A. I think it's there's really not a lot I don't like.
Clooney's Batman.
True. There's really not a whole lot I dislike about it.
Yeah.
If anything. So.
All right,
yeah.
Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this in theaters with my grandparents because my grandparents obviously watched the first one. I don't know if they did watch it in theaters or not, the first one. But when this came out, we were excited for it. Except by the end of it, my grandparents were kind of not lost, but like they were like, what did we just watch? I'm like, listen, you guys aren't moviegoers. You wouldn't understand. I basically hit them with the Joker meme. You wouldn't get it. But so I loved it when I saw it in theaters. I loved it. Like I love that this movie like had equally like very loud moments and very quiet. I kind of like how they did a lot of that kind of loud, quiet dynamic. I think that it's also cool that they do rehash some sprinklings of the 86 movie. Even in some of their story, because we always forget that Rooster has a rival in this movie, played by Glenn Powell. So it's kind of like almost reliving the Maverick and Iceman rivalry from the first one a little bit, which I like. There's a kind of a call back to that rivalry. But I think that so that was well done. Like doing it in a way it didn't come off as like a cheesy rehash of it. They did it in a way that makes sense. I do like the fact that we did see Val Kilmer for the final time in this because honestly, to me, Val Kilmer is one of my favorite actors ever. To me, he's criminally underrated. But because there's a lot of movies that people don't think of when they think of Val Kilmer besides Top Gun. Like they'll mention Batman, which we did, and all that stuff. But he's a lot better than that if you go through his filmography. So I think that every character in this movie, it feels like they actually serve a purpose. It doesn't feel like it's just a bunch of background characters outside of the main, 7 or 8 of them, which just feels nice to have a movie that actually feels like everybody in the cast is important, because it would suck to not do that, especially kind of in a movie like this, where in the first one, every character basically felt important. So I like that, Patrick. I think that I love the fact that there's also a lot of good actors in this movie. I mean, this is a real good cast. Louis Pullman, Val Kilmer, Ed Harris, Glenn Powell, John Hamm, Jennifer Connelly, obviously Miles Teller, and Tom Cruise. The list goes on of how good this casting was. It's been I watched it in theaters and then I watched it again, obviously, a couple days ago, but I still come out of it with the same feeling, like that. It's like, you're kind of reliving almost like an 80s nostalgia. Like, and I think that's been a big thing across, not just in movies, but in media in general, the last like 3-4 years. There's a lot of 80s nostalgia coming around. So, it's cool to kind of relive that, but it doesn't feel like it's forced. It feels like it's just natural. Like it was fun. You're still kind of, you're still obviously getting the bits and pieces of what made the soundtrack of the original so good, obviously, with the songs. So but it feels like it's almost like it's a familiar story, but it's revamped for a new era. And I love the fact that it doesn't just feel like, oh, we're just going to throw a sequel on because it's almost 40 years later, or at this point it was 36 years later that it came out. That like, so it just, because when I heard the idea of a sequel, I was like, oh, like they waited this long for that? Like that doesn't make sense. And then when I saw the trailer, I'm like, I was impressed even by the trailer. I'm like, I will go see this in the theaters. And then when it actually came out and I went to see it, I was blown away by it. I mean, honestly, to me, even the flight sequences are way better than the first one. I mean, obviously
they are
technology, but still, like, they're still
Yeah.
phenomenal. And obviously, Tom, and I love the fact that also Tom Cruise does a lot of his own stunt work. So I love the fact that he's obviously in the jet too for a lot of this. I mean, it's just it's you know, there's so many callbacks to the original. I mean, they even have a whole beach scene where they're playing
Yeah, with the football.
And I'm like, yeah, and I'm like with the football. So I'm like, that's really cool to see that. Like, there is so many callbacks to the original, but it doesn't feel like Shane was saying. It doesn't feel cringy. It doesn't feel cheesy. You know, it has the best parts of what made the original so special, but it just did it even better the second time around. So it's a great movie. I mean, if I gave Brand New Day, which I saw last night, if I gave that a 9, I mean, I'm giving this. I mean, there's a reason why it has 96% on Rotten Tomatoes from basically the critics and the fans, more or less. So this is the one movie where I'm actually going to give it probably the highest rating I've ever given. Now, it's not a perfect 10. No movie is 9.5. I will go 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 9. I'm not like the biggest fan of romantic subplots with this movie, but I thought this one worked a lot better than the first movie. As a whole, though, it feels. I don't know. I felt like for me, this was a bit of a comfort movie watching it again. It's just like, oh, this movie's just good fun. It doesn't feel like a military propaganda movie. Just a good time overall, and that's kind of what I have to say about it mostly. Like, I didn't really think too much watching this. I was like, this is just a great 2 hours. Just relax and enjoy the set pieces. And again, the storyline's really good compared to the first one. Like, I'm excited to see what they do with the third one. I'm curious what they're going to do. That was more what I thought of as like, all right, what kind of stuff can they do with this? Yeah. I know that Miles Teller pitched like a Rooster spinoff of some kind, which they might fold that into the third one. So I don't know. But yeah, this is 9 for me. It's just good fun all around. Both these movies, but I think especially the second one, Lady Gaga, I thought did a good job with the soundtrack, with everyone else involved in that, and just it's just fun, just good fun. Next week, we'll do like end of summer music, so we'll do like 12 songs, end of summer music, and then we'll finish up right now with you and Scoop's divisions, I guess, the East divisions, which is going to be a good way to end this, and then the season starts.
Sounds like,
and then we're off to the big leagues.
Yes.
What's that mean? The big leagues are calling.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
All right. Well, for Shane, for Scoop, for Brandon, and for myself, Robert, we'll see you at some point next week. Not sure yet, but we'll let you know. We'll have a more consistent schedule once the season starts. But thanks for being on, guys. Always a good time. And thanks to all you joining us in the comments and everything else. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next week. Peace.
See you, everybody.